Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the live stream, like all these wonderful people, Rick and Cindy and Rochelle and Tennis and Yoga Girl and Our Tiny Acres and Christy here, hello. If you'd like to join the live stream, you can join me most weekdays on YouTube when I go live around 4 p.m. Central Time. Outside of the YouTube, if you'd like to reach out to me, you could consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link to that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times people ask me what kind of food I'm eating while I'm trying to lose weight, and that Pinterest board is a great place to see some of our favorite recipes. Today is day 837 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 245 pounds so far. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what's causing your struggles? If you're succeeding with your diet, what are you doing to succeed? And at the end of the day, what are some things that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? I'm going to switch over here. We're going to hide that. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful day yesterday. It was Valentine's Day, so I hope you got a chance to spend some time with your loved ones. Our Tiny Acre says he had a non-scale victory here today. He turned down a free soda. That is great. Soda is definitely one of those things that I've struggled with over even the last 2 years, keeping out of my diet. But I have been lucky enough, or I have been able to do it for the last few months, which is really nice. So Rochelle says that she turned down some free chocolate strawberries. Everybody's getting offered free food. Carrie last night had to go to a meeting for the nonprofit that she runs, and they had a bunch of dessert available to her for after she kind of gave her presentation, and she had to turn down a bunch of cake. She said here she had to turn down a bunch of cake for that party or the meeting that she had yesterday. So lots of people being offered things for free that aren't theirs, and those temptations sometimes are difficult. It is hard to tell people no, but overall it's great that all you guys have been able to do that, or you were able to do that, and you succeeded, and it feels great to overcome those too, and that's something that I bring up a lot with the Pleasure Trap book. I'm going to try to get my camera to refocus here. What's going on? Okay. That they talk about when you are faced with temptation, and when you give into that temptation, it makes it really hard to say no to it the next time it presents itself. Because if you gave in the previous time, you kind of lost that kind of power you had over the diet in some ways. So Barb here says that free junk food is too available. Great job, everybody. Way to go, refuser, says Cindy. And Our Tiny Acre says that the chocolate covered strawberries would have been a lot harder to give up than Our Tiny Acre says that the chocolate would have been harder than the soda to refuse. And Barb agrees. Yes, those chocolate covered strawberries, they do look delicious, but they're not worth it. So that's great. All you guys were able to do that. I feel bad I don't have my own non-scale victory. Maybe the shirt I'm wearing is a shirt I wouldn't have worn. So there's a non, a clothing non-scale victory. I feel like I've had a lot of those over the past few weeks. Just overall, I really feel like my body and my abdomen is slimmed up or thinned up a little bit. Even more so these last couple weeks or this last month here with my weight loss. Speaking of weight loss, today is weigh-in Wednesday. I hopped on the scale this morning and I weighed 272.8. That is a 1.6 pound loss this week. And I am extremely happy to have the 1.6 pound loss here. Pretty Girl's mom says that chocolate hummus and strawberries is pretty good. That would probably be a little bit better for you than just straight chocolate. Cindy says, great weight loss victory. Yeah, I was really happy with seeing that 1.6 pound loss, especially after I felt like I might have screwed it up last night. I felt like I ate a lot of food at the end of the day, and I was worried that it was going to affect my weight when I got on the scale today. And it probably did affect my weight. I would have been lighter had I not had that cobbler at the end of the day yesterday, but it's so good. And we've had that a lot. Our Tiny Acre says that you got a new coat. The one you were wearing was a men's 6X and the new one is a women's XL. That's amazing. That is huge. That's 5 X's you got rid of there. And you went from men's sizing to women's sizing. So I'm sure that affects it as well. That is awesome. That's kind of, we were joking yesterday, me and Carrie, that the shirt I had on yesterday was a 2XL shirt. And, I'm getting rid of all those X's. So that's awesome. Amy here says, woohoo, I'm loving these big losses week after week. You go, John, and way to go, Carrie, for all you do to support me in this as well. Yes. And Carrie's been seeing success here since we started doing the reboot, which has been awesome. So I actually was doing some more numbers today, just kind of seeing what I have to do or what I need to do each week to lose weight, to get to my goal. And I was kind of nervous, or I am nervous, because I looked at what I have left to lose and I divided it by the number of weeks I have left. And for me to reach my goal, I'm going to need to continue to do, at least 1.4 pounds each week. So this week doing 1.6 pounds, kind of gets me 0.2 ahead of the game, I guess. But, I know it's going to get more difficult as I go on. But I'm really happy to see the weight continuing to come off, especially with the amount of food I am eating. And then I'll pull that up here just to go over the food in the past 24 hours. Let me see if I can get it going. So here we go. Last night when I just finished eating right before stream here and I ate way too fast and I got a lot of air in my stomach. So, our Tiny Acres here says it feels weird wearing a coat that fits and you don't have to put on extra shirts to stay warm now. Yeah. It's a good feeling though. Like a lot of the clothing that I've been wearing is the old clothing that I was wearing, so a lot of that was 5X, 4X sized clothing. And actually when I started this, a lot of my 4XL clothing I wouldn't wear because I didn't like how it fit. It wasn't long enough. It didn't fit great. And then as I've lost the weight, I dropped the 6X clothing out of my dresser, the 5X clothing, and then the 4X is actually what I probably have the most of. I think that there was a point where I was, most of my work clothing is 4XL. And At one point I got too big that I couldn't even fit into my work shirts. And so instead of resorting to buying work shirts that were 5 or 6 XL, I just bought gray t-shirts that they're kind of the same color as our work shirts and just wore those, just to, just because I didn't want to, have to order 5 or 6 XL shirts. If it was something where I was ordering them for a guy or somebody that worked for me, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't feel weird about it. But to just order the clothing for myself seemed a bit, I was frustrating, I guess. And so, yeah, I've been wearing the 4XL clothing, and I've noticed that the 4XL stuff is getting to the point where it's baggy and loose. I'm getting comments from Carrie and people at work about needing to start wearing smaller clothing or getting rid of the big clothing. And I've actually been wearing some smaller stuff this past week. I think every day this week I've worn a smaller shirt or a shirt that I wouldn't have been able to wear probably even 2 months ago. The shirt I had on yesterday that was a 2XL, I tried that on when I was about 290 or 285 pounds. So only 10 or 15 pounds ago. And I didn't like how it fit. I didn't feel like it fit well at all. And so, I kind of left it in the closet until yesterday when I tried it on, and I was like, wow, it actually fits. So I'm going to wear it. And I got comments about it too, because it fit well. And so that was great. So let's see. Cindy here says that she just donated her last bag of clothes yesterday. She's 1X now, or 1X. And now, okay, they were 1X and now you're in a medium to large. That's great that you're able to give that stuff away. And me and Carrie have talked about giving my clothing away or giving some of the stuff away. The only thing is that I wore that clothing out, I don't know that I have many shirts that are that big, from when I was at my biggest that are even really in a good enough condition to give away. I mean, the first thing I think of is this picture I have of me this first day, no background. And if you look dead center on my chest here, there's a big stain. I don't know if that comes across, but that's like a permanent stain on that shirt. And that's how a lot of my clothing was, because I didn't buy new clothing or replace it. So it's great to be in clothing. Our Tiny Acre says you're on the lookout for a big homeless guy for your old coat. Yeah, that's something that, I do have 1 or 2 really nice coats that are probably too big for me now. That it's funny how much clothing I actually probably have that is like, when I got it, it was almost too small, and then I grew out of it. And so some of that stuff doesn't have as much wear on it, like a coat, something that would have been seasonal. But my regular clothing is got pretty worn out, or I definitely wore it out by wearing it. So we're gonna go over food for the past 20 hours or so since I got off stream yesterday. I got home yesterday and I had a couple oranges. These are the small kind of tangerine or mandarin. I'm not sure what they're called, but the tiny oranges. I've been enjoying those. Really, this whole diet, we've gone through a lot of oranges. Like, we've eaten more oranges in the past 2 years than we probably did in the past 10 years. Well over in the past 2 years than I probably have eaten my whole life previously. So love those oranges. And then for dinner last night, we had leftovers. This is the cabbage soup that we had from the day prior. And it was amazing. It was awesome. It was just as good yesterday as it was the first day, if not better yesterday, because all those flavors had a chance to kind of mix together over time. So there is a picture. I actually had 2 servings of this last night, or I guess I'll say a bowl and a half. It wasn't 2 full bowls. Let's see. Our Tiny Acre says you've been craving citrus a lot lately. Yeah, I love having that citrus or having those oranges available. It's definitely the first of the 3. Like we have a hanging basket on our pantry door that has one level of it's got our oranges, the other level's got our apples, and then the top level has our bananas. And I definitely go for the oranges first, probably the bananas second, and then the apples last. But we absolutely go through a ton of them. It's great having that fruit there because my kids, they're always like, hey, I'm hungry. And it's like, well, go grab a piece of fruit. And so it's great getting them into that habit that, you know, when you need something or when you're hungry, you can actually go and actually have a piece of fruit here. Carrie says that last night she had leftovers as well, but it was different leftovers than me. She had the mango salsa with the black beans and brown rice last night for dinner. Yes, that is a great dinner. That's a great meal. It's almost a little bit too springy for me, being that it's middle of February and we're supposed to have a big snowstorm come through here. Our Tiny Acre says you go through a lot of bananas in smoothies. Yeah, I know a lot of people say that you know, the people that have smoothies, or there's people, there's a guy I listened to on YouTube here that he was on the doctor's television show, and they were hung up on, you know, he said he would eat like 10 bananas or 15 bananas a day. You know, there's a lot of people that volume eat bananas, and they seem to really like doing that. And our kids, at the end of the day, our one daughter, pretty much every day for the last week or two, she's had a smoothie for like an after dinner snack. And again, it's just great to be building that kind of foundation in their minds that, hey, when I'm hungry, I don't need to go and grab a candy bar or grab something that's quick and easy out of the cupboard. I can take the little bit of effort it takes to grab the frozen fruit and the apple juice or soy milk, whatever she uses to mix it in there. And Carrie says here, yeah, the big kids have been on a smoothie kick lately. And you definitely need a banana in there to make it creamy. And I know a lot of people that put 2, 3, 4 bananas inside their smoothies, to really get that creaminess and that volume to their smoothie. Let's see. I did take a lot of photos of this. I think yesterday when I was talking about what was in this, I forgot to mention that there's carrot in here. And so I took a photo just showing the carrots because I didn't remember that there was carrots in there, but there's lentils, cabbage, tomato, onion. I'm sure a bunch of other wonderful ingredients there too. Cindy says you've been staring at a pineapple sitting on the counter as you're listening here. We'll grab the knife and cut that sucker up and have yourself a snack. But yeah, it's great having these fruits available around, and they really help kind of satisfy that sweet tooth that you might have. So, let's see more photos of that. That's a bad photo. It's a very blurry photo of the cobbler I had. Here's a better photo. So this was after dinner last night. We had some of the fruit cobbler that we've been making since we started doing the Chef AJ reboot. Again, I debated for like a millisecond last night about whether or not to have the fruit cobbler, because I knew that it might have an effect on my weight today, but I decided, you know what, who cares? I'll eat it and we'll see what happens. And I still lost 1.5 pounds in the past week. So, it's really the peaches, the strawberries, the pineapples, the fruit mix we're using is a great mix. And then just having the oats with the bananas. Cindy, the fruits we use are frozen. So we buy like a bag of frozen fruits. This one is a mix of 3 different fruits. It's peaches, pineapples, and strawberries. We've used another mix. It's like a 3-berry blend. But yeah, it's all frozen. I think that's a great way to get a lot of those fruits is buying them frozen, because they don't travel the best sometimes. So, but yeah, that's what we had for dessert last night. Here I'll pop up a little bit of a temptation that I was not tempted by this at all, but at work today, we had a vendor come in and drop off breakfast for us as a thank you for ordering so much product from them. He went out and bought us a box of donuts and dropped it off today. So we had a box of donuts sitting around the office. And I had actually taken this photo to send it to one of the guys that was out of the office today that I knew he would have been missing not having a donut. So I was teasing him with that photo there. That's why it's on my phone. But this was a temptation that was in front of me today. But I didn't really consider it a temptation because, oh, my battery's low. Because it's not even remotely on my diet. Like, that's such a weird thing too. You know, like if I was in day one or week one or even month one of this diet, that might have been much more tempting to me than it is today. But now I look at that and I just see a lot of processed food, a lot of bad calories, a lot of added fat, even though it doesn't look like there's a ton of added fat there. I'm sure that it is covered in it. It's fried in it. It's made of it. And so nothing about that box is good for you. There's nothing good in that box for you, for me, or for really anybody. But they had brought it in, and some of the guys here enjoyed it. And then, so for me, my breakfast, so this was everybody else's breakfast, and then my breakfast was a bag of broccoli. We have that California Balsamics curry balsamic. That I put a little bit of that on there. And that was how I started my day today. I did push my breakfast actually late this morning. It was almost noon before I even ate my breakfast today, which pushed my lunch even later. I was like finishing up my lunch right before this stream here. And so had that broccoli. I've really been loving having these big calorie dense, or these big volume, low calorie meals. Since we started doing this reboot, I really think that that's what's caused a ton of this weight loss over the past month. I was looking and, oh, did I write it down somewhere? I might have wrote it down. I did not. My weight like a month ago was almost, trying to think, it was like 83. So I was 10 pounds. I was over 10 pounds heavier a month ago than I am today. And that it's been a while since I've had a 10-pound month. Really, it's probably been since the first year. Like that first year I was having huge weight losses, or I was getting huge weight losses, and then it really slowed down that whole second year. And so over the course of the second year, I lost like 40, maybe 50 pounds, and I didn't ever have that I didn't have those big losses like I've been seeing now, which never would have expected on any diet that I was doing. I really was thinking that it would be something where I would lose all my weight right away, and then for the last year, I'd be trying to get the last 30 pounds off, and it almost did that. And then I screwed it up and went off my diet and spent the whole second year doing, trying different things or seeing what things I could eat or what things I would like. And that really, Cindy Davis just donated $19.99 through Super Chat. Thank you so much, Cindy. You are amazing. You're so generous. We appreciate it a ton. She says to go get ourselves some more of that California balsamic. Yeah, that absolutely helps get us some of that balsamic. And I need to get like a little measuring cup or something, or like a little thing like they fill up with you put your kid's medicine in, just like a little shot glass, so that I can ration out the California balsamics. I feel guilty using too much of it because I don't want to buy another whole bag of it here. Amy says, it'd be so cool if you could get under 170 in the next week. That would be amazing to get under 170 by the next week. My goal though is to get under 170 by the end of the month. So I had done the math kind of leading into this month. And in order for me to get to my goal, and do it even, to do it evenly, which is not what I was planning on doing, but I need to lose about 7 pounds a month. And so my goal for the end of February is to be under 270. Then the goal for March is going to be under 263. And then just 7 pounds down each month until I get to my goal weight. I don't think I would have considered that possible, or thought that that would be something I'd be able to do when I started this. Just the mindset I had was so different than the mindset I have now. And I look and see that I lost 1.6 pounds this past week. And I look at the food I ate, and I ate so much food this past week. And I know that if I, change the volume I ate, I could affect the amount of weight I lose each week. And then if I added some activity or more activity in, that would also create some weight loss. So, I would love to get under 270 in the next week, but my goal for the month is 270. Pretty Girl's mom says, yes, 260. Here comes Jonathan. Oh my gosh, 260. Yeah, just the idea of being the weight I'm at it brings a smile to my face, because I spent so many years trying to get to this weight. I mean, it's been 23 years since I was this weight, and that's over half of my life that I have been really just desperate to try to get back under 275, or just like mentally, like the drag that's had on me mentally over the years. It's so nice to be getting going in the right direction here. My phone's going to disconnect. Give me a second to fix this. Here we go. And we'll get the broccoli back up on screen here. Let's see here if I missed any other. Produce Not Pills says, how's it going? It's going great, Produce Not Pills. I don't know if you had a chance to watch my weigh-in video from today, but it is weigh-in Wednesday. I was able to drop 1.6 pounds this past week. And so I'm really happy that I was able to do that. And it's great that it's, I'm expecting a stall, and so every week I'm nervous that it's going to be the week where I don't lose any weight. But for the past month, it's been amazing. I think I had a 3 or 4 pound day, and then almost every week, or 3 or 4 pound week. And then the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's been over a pound each week. And so it's great continuing to see that weight come off. And then you asked, doesn't a little go a long way? It does. It does go a long way with the balsamics. It's the flavor. Like I know, like the meal, the lunch I had, I'll get to here eventually. I put balsamic in it, and it gave it that hint of flavor. But because of it being flavored balsamics, you can really dump it in there and get just, you can really strengthen that flavor. If it was just vinegar, then I would probably not add more, but because it's this flavored balsamics, they definitely, I enjoy having the added flavor. So I have to kind of self-regulate myself, so that we don't eat too much here. Carrie said that we bought 5 big bottles of the balsamic last week. Yes. And hopefully those last us a while. They better last us a while. Let's see here. Janet's actually talking about the dinner that we're having, I think, for dinner tonight. The chicken curry. She couldn't find any jackfruit that wasn't full of sodium in the can, so you made the broccoli curry again. Carrie's going to have to go check. She said she'd have to check the jackfruit in the pantry because she bought it ages ago. And then she says, so I'm making the recipe without jackfruit, it seems, because it had salt in it. So I guess we're not having that chicken curry with the jackfruit tonight because we couldn't find any without any salt. So yes, Pretty Girl's mom says, have to thank Chef AJ's reboot. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It was something that Carrie had mentioned. Gosh, it was in mid-January. How much longer is the reboot going? Is it just, it's got to be less than a week now that the reboot is going, but I'm going to keep eating kind of the same schedule that I'm eating with this broccoli, then breakfast, broccoli with lunch, adding those low calorie, non-starchy vegetables into my meal. In fact, I'm going to go to the next part. I'm going to run through food here so we can get done with it. This was the oatmeal for this morning. Our standard oatmeal, spinach, onions, mushrooms, with a mix of oat groats and steel cut oats. And then right before stream here, this was my bowl of potatoes and broccoli. I mean, I know I've showed the bowl. I've talked about the bowl. This bowl is huge. And I think it was 4 potatoes. There might've been 5, but it was 4 for sure. Potatoes that were good sized potatoes, and then a whole bag of steamed broccoli on top of it here. And then I mixed it together, threw some more of the curry California balsamic in there, and had that kind of as my lunch that I had just before I got on stream here. And so that was the food for the day here. Let's see. Protostop Pills says, like you mentioned, Chef AJ says condiment responsibly. Yes, love that phrase. Yeah, and you think Edwards and Sons makes packaged jackfruit without any salt. We'll have to check that out and see where we can get that. Pretty Girl's mom agrees or says that she saw that too. And then you ask if we had any salt-free mustard or made any ourselves. Yes. So there is a mustard company that Chef AJ talks about that I feel like we've ordered that mustard. So, and then we had that meal. Oh gosh, that we had the other day, which is this orange is the new black. This, so I always hit the wrong button here. So that's on, that's off. There we go. That sauce that we have on top there is has mustard in it. So yeah, and that's a sauce that Carrie made. And then Carrie says that she just finished our last jar of salt-free mustard. It was the Primo brand that she believes that's what it was. Yeah. We had, a phase or a period where we were eating a lot of like a mustard dressing. There is, if you go back into my old videos and find anywhere we had salads, a lot of times when we would eat our salad, it would be this big bowl of spinach and all these wonderful, vegetables, celery and carrot and cucumber and red pepper and all this stuff. And then we had a mustard dressing that we would put in it. But over the past couple months, we have not had that dressing. I know that there's something in it. Maybe it's the maple syrup that was in it, or like the tahini or something that we're trying to avoid. So we haven't had it as much. And I've actually switched to eating the salads without a dressing, like just eating the vegetable or the spinach without a dressing. And I really enjoy eating the salads that way. I feel like one, it slows me down when I eat it. I'm not eating it as quick as when we had the dressing on it. And I'm appreciating the flavors more because of it. And so Carrie says, yeah, it was the tahini and maple syrup that was in that dressing that we used to have on our salads that we kind of cut out of our diet, maybe 4 months ago now. And so it's been a while since I had mustard until we had the meal I just popped up on the screen here. It had been a while since we had mustard. let's see. Produce Not Pills says, isn't it nuts that salads are considered the sides? Yes, salad should be the main course. Yeah, that's, that's everything. All of the sides. If you go to a restaurant and you look at their sides menu, almost all of those should actually be the main courses. The cup of fruit, give me a bowl of fruit, not a cup of fruit. Give me a plate full of fruit. I don't want a cup of fruit. Give me a whole mixing bowl of salad, and, even the big salads that you get from restaurants, if it's like a dish item, there's almost not enough salad in those. And they could easily make them bigger because it's not like it's that expensive. But yeah, it is crazy that salads are the side. You should be filling your stomach up with the salad and then leaving very little room for the rest of the other stuff you could eat. Rochelle says you use lemon juice on your salad. Yeah, I've done that too. And it gives it a nice flavor, adds a flavor to it. And really the first salads that we had when we first started this diet was using lemon as the dressing, because we didn't know how to make the tahini mustard dressing that we switched to. So my first couple salads, I was just putting some lemon juice on there because I thought it needed to have it on there. I didn't think that I could just eat the salad just without any dressing. So I put some lemon juice on it. Then we started having that mustard dressing. We played around with some different apple cider vinegar kind of flavored dressings as well, but the mustard was definitely our favorite. And then, like I said, a few months back, I cut that out of my diet just to reduce that calorie density. And really what I found is that I enjoy the salads without it. So having it on there was just kind of adding extra calories that was unnecessary. Produce Not Pills says here, you tried to explain that a couple of times. You went to a restaurant to just give me a big bowl of lettuce or veggies. Restaurants don't understand, especially since they don't know how to ring it up. Yeah. And we had an experience 2 months into this diet. So I started this diet in November. I fasted for 40 days. 42 days. So I ended that in the middle of December. And at the end of December in 2020, we took a family trip to an amusement water park. And it was us and my brother and his family. We all went up there and spent the weekend there. And one of the nights we decided to go to a restaurant to get food. And we were very new at this. Me and Carrie and our kids were not eating this way at all. So they were eating kind of regular, whatever they wanted, probably chicken nuggets or chicken tenders. But we were at the restaurant and I think that I ended up not eating. I think that I was just like, there's nothing really on the menu I want to have. We had brought a bunch of food. I had fasted for 40 days, and so I was like, I can skip dinner. But Carrie wanted to get some food. And so she ordered like the Asian salad or something that they had. It was like a $13 salad. And then she had to be like, all right, well, I don't want any of the chicken on there. I don't want any of the cheese on there. I don't want any of the, I don't know if there was egg on it, but because I'm pretty sure it was an Asian salad. But she ended up ordering the salad from the menu, but then taking off 3 or 4 things from the menu. So then the waiter shows up with her plate and it's literally just like a plate of iceberg lettuce with some shredded carrot on top. And then the sauce was on the side. I think she had gotten the sauce on the side because maybe I don't remember if we brought our own dressing. We probably weren't even into that. And then, so we spent like $13-14 on this plate of iceberg lettuce. And that's kind of when we realized that that's just a waste. We would have been so much better off to get the steamed vegetables and a baked potato and spend $5 per side and actually get, food that is a little bit more, better, or at least easier. Rochelle here says that you had to tell them to give you the grilled chicken salad without the chicken and the cheese, and I'll pay full price. Yeah. And it's just crazy. Like, all of the expensive stuff I'm getting taken off of it, and I'm still going to spend just, I'm going to still pay the same amount of money. So, yeah. And Carrie says you live and learn. Yeah. And, and that was, like I said, this was 1 month into the diet for Carrie, 40 days, or I'm sorry, 20 days into the diet for me. And the next time we went to a restaurant was around Valentine's Day, I think, I know it was a double date with some friends of mine. And we went to a seafood restaurant, or like I don't know, Thunder Bay Grill is what it's called. I don't know if you guys have those around. And we ended up just ordering off the sides, and it was great. Like, we had the baked potato, and a side of steamed asparagus and something else, that we just had the sides, and it was great. And we spent like 10 or 15 bucks a piece on our meal, and our friends that we were with were spending 30, 35 bucks a piece on their meals. So it saved us money too. And let's see, Produce Not Pills says just go to the grocery store. That's also an option, a better option. Yeah, as far as getting food. And then Carrie says we rarely eat out anymore. Let's see. Sherry Khan here asked, mind explaining how you fasted 40 days straight or here and there? I fasted for 41 plus days. I did 1,000 hours of water fasting. And then daylight savings was in there. But yeah, so whatever that, but it was 1,000 hours that I water fasted. If you go back, if you're looking at my videos, if you go to the lives and then you go to my oldest videos, that's when I started this channel. My intention to lose weight was to fast my way down to a healthy weight. I was actually watching a video that I've never shared, that I had recorded right before I started this whole challenge. And I'm talking in that video about how I'm going to fast my way. I'm going to do fasting. I'm going to do intermittent fasting. I'm going to do extended fasting. I'm going to play with fasting until I get to a healthy weight. So that was my intention when I started this, was to focus on water fasting. So I challenged myself to do a 30-day water fast for the month of November 2020. About halfway through that fast, I ended up finding a book called The Pleasure Trap, or finding out about the True North Clinic, and did some more research. By the end of 30 days, I felt still pretty good with how things were going. And so I pushed it that other 10 days to get it to 1,000 hours water fasted. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for everybody. It can be very difficult to do. And I don't think, now I'm sitting here 2 years later, and while the fast is what sparked the change and what got me to the point I'm at now, I didn't need to fast for 40 days. If I would have fasted for 4 days, I think that I would have been able to see success, but the success came because of the diet that I started eating after the fast. In 2018, 2019, I can't remember which year, I had water fasted for a few weeks and lost a bunch of weight and felt amazing, thought it was awesome. And that's kind of what sparked the idea that I was going to do water fasting to lose weight. And so then, the problem was that I water fasted for a few weeks. I lost a ton of weight, like 50, 60 pounds. But I didn't eat right afterwards. I started eating pretty much the diet that I had been eating before I water fasted. And I gained all of that weight back. And actually within 2 years, I was another 60 pounds heavier. I had lost 60 pounds. And then 2 years later, I had gained 120 essentially, because I regained all that 60 back, and then I put on another 60 pounds. And so that was a big focus for me when I started my water fast, was that I needed to figure out what I was going to do for a diet afterwards. And so that's what I did. It was No, I did not refeed for 40 days. Let's see here. I missed a couple questions, but yeah, I'll get, let's see. So I refed for about a week, where it was juice, a lot of juice, and then little bits of food here. Like the day I broke my fast, I had mushrooms and onions. Like that was what I broke my fast with, was mushrooms and onions and a like a 12-ounce juice that I had. And so I slowed into eating. The one food that I wish I would have waited on longer was red pepper. That was something that I think about 5-6 days after I fasted, I had something with red pepper in it. And I can remember it just not sitting well in my stomach and kind of screwing me up for a few hours. So yeah, refeeding, you have to be very careful, for your diet. And so, another question, produce.pills, it says, technically you should refeed for 40 days, right? You've heard the hardest is the refeeding after the fast. Yeah. So that's really the refeeding, the fear of refeeding, or what I'm supposed to do to refeed, is a huge part of what pushed me, or what got me to eat a plant-based diet, because it was in my researching for refeeding, or what I wanted to do, where I found a video of Dylan from Well Your World. He had done a week-long fast at the True North Clinic, and I watched some videos that he had done, and everything he was saying about his water fast like resonated with how I was feeling during my water fast. And so I started looking into the True North Clinic and seeing what that was. Like I had never heard of it before. And I found out that it's a clinic where they do medically supervised water fasting. And so then my thought was, well, if these guys do this for a living, this is what they do, what do they refeed their patients with? And so I did a little bit of research, and I found that they were recommending a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And I thought that that's just crazy. Like, these people, that their focus is fasting. That's what they're doing. They're a fasting clinic. And that's what their goal is, to help people through fasting. And then to see them recommending people eat this vegan diet, and not just a vegan diet, but this whole food, plant-based, no salt, no oil, no sugar. I was like, why would they put an additional target on their back? They already have to deal with all of the criticism, or all of the skepticism towards water fasting. And then to recommend people eat a plant-based diet with no added salt, oil, sugar. It seemed to me like it was a crazy thing to do, unless there was some benefit to it. There's got to be a reason why. And so I read the Pleasure Trap book, and I started trying to, I even sent a message to them at one point. I was like, hey, I'm like 30 days into a water fast. What should I do to refeed? I never heard back, because I'm sure that they don't want to get into any type of legal issues with recommending anything to anybody who's doing a water fast on their own. But like, that is what I started looking for, and trying to find what they were recommending for refeeding. And over the time, I have found out a lot more information about what they refeed, because they don't make it very public. And it's probably for good reason. So that's kind of what got me going down this plant-based avenue, was my fear of what would happen if I refed improperly. And then the knowing that from my previous fast, I failed it because I didn't eat right. I think your comment here was that it's the hardest is the refeeding after the fast. And I think that it was, and not just as mentally, like changing my diet, and still, like, it's tough to abstinence is so much easier than moderation. And when you're refeeding, you have to kind of be moderate, because you can overfeed, you can harm yourself by eating too much. So that would be the toughest part, is to slow yourself down. I know that they have some sort of equation I've seen where it's like every 3 or 7 days, or 3 or 5 days that you fast, that you should juice fast as a refeed, you know, so like I should have juice fasted for probably almost a week after I ate my diet. If I was following what I found out now, you know, I didn't know this 2 years ago when I was doing this. I was just kind of doing it by the seat of my pants. Let's see here. Prototype Pill says you fasted long term a couple times yourself, 7, 11, and 22 days. That's great. Would you ever do a water fast again? I would consider it, but it would probably be more so if I was seeing any type of like health issue. Like I would maybe try to water fast to give my body the ability to focus on whatever ailment or something that I needed. I did do a 10-day water fast in March of 2021. And I had planned to do more. I planned to do, you know, as long as I could, like, you know, maybe even try to do another 40 days. And I got about 10 days into the water fast. And I remember exactly. So 10 days in, it was a Friday. And I had already lost over 150 pounds at this point, or at 150 pounds. So I was at like 360. And I was so much more active than when I started my fast that I was looking at the weekend ahead, and it was nice out. It was March. It was getting nice out. And I thought, you know, I don't want to ruin this weekend because I'm fasting. Like I really felt like the diet was doing a great job already. And I think that an important factor of fasting is relaxation. I think or being sedentary. And the reason I was able to fast for 40 days is because I was 520 pounds. And even though I would have said I was an active person, in reality, I was very sedentary. You know, I had my watch was keeping track of my steps, and I was doing under 3,000 steps a day on a good day. Many days I would be at like 2,000 steps a day. And that's with a watch that counts a step every time I go like that, you know, like they weren't even actually doing 2,000 or 3,000 steps. But that's what my watch was, you know, kind of coming up with. So I was very sedentary when I did my 40-day fast because I didn't change anything about my life. And because to get to 520 pounds, I had to eat a lot of food and I had to do a lot of nothing. And so once I lost that 160 pounds, I didn't want to be inactive while fasting. And I think that to water fast, I think it's important that you can avoid doing anything, you know, that exerts a lot of energy. And it's tough to do, you know, like during my 40-day fast, there were multiple times where I had to stop myself. Like I had to say, you know, I could easily go do this task. It wouldn't take a lot for me to do it in the moment. And I feel great right now. But I knew that if I, on day 17, did a bunch of extra energy, used a bunch of extra energy, that it might not hit me till day 22 or day 28. And so that's what kind of keeps me from doing a fast again is that not wanting to be sedentary, because I think that's an important part of fasting. I think fasting is something that your body does a lot of healing. I had a lot of health crises during the fast that healed themselves. My ankle, I had a lot of issues with my ankle, and it was because of the swelling. It wasn't because I had swelling. It was because I got rid of the swelling. My ankle and my legs were so used to being swelled up, and all of the joints and muscles and tendons and everything were being pushed around and stuff from the fluid around my ankles, that when I lost the weight, or when the fluid left my legs, that everything kind of went back to where it was supposed to be in the first place. And that hurt so much. Like, and the way I explained it, it was like when your arm falls asleep, or your hand falls asleep, or your leg falls asleep, and then you move and then the blood starts flowing back to where it's supposed to be. Like, it hurts, but it also feels good because like you're fixing the problem. And that's how I felt like with my ankle, the way it was. So yeah, that's the fast. And again, I think that if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to change your diet, that a fast is a great way to change your diet. But I don't think you have to fast. You don't have to fast. I think that you can do a lot of other things to help. I think that the biggest thing is you have to get away from your old diet. And that's what I did. At midnight on October 31st, I quit my old diet and I started a new one. And that 40-day fast gave my body a great ability to do a reset. I think you could do it with doing a shorter fast. I think you could mono diet if you eat like a rice diet or a potato diet for 3 days to a week. You could do a juice fast where you just had fruit juices or vegetable juices for 3 days to 7 days. Any of those things that you give yourself a chance to reset, because all of the stuff that you used to eat is so addictive. There's so much sugar in it. Some of it, if you're drinking coffee, you need to get, if you can get rid of that addiction, that's huge. Getting rid of milk and dairy, you're going to have issues. Many times you're going to get a headache when you do a fast like that. Going from eating a crap diet to doing a fast or a mono diet, you're going to get a headache, but that headache isn't from the fasting and it's not from the food you're eating currently. It's the withdrawal you're having from the food that you used to eat. Produce Out Pills says, that when you fasted, you were active because your job is active and you don't have a large amount of fat. You think water fasting is great. It's good mental and physical practice. Yeah. And that the most common thing I think I've probably said to Carrie since I water fasted is, well, I don't need to eat that because I fasted for 42 days. I can go 6 hours without eating. That story I told about the going to the restaurant 2 months into this, that was, I didn't need to order anything from the restaurant because I had that willpower that I got control of my food. And so I think it gives a lot of strength that way. Like, there was many times where I was like, throughout my 38 years of existence before doing this, there were many times where I was like, oh man, I'm starving. I have to eat. Oh, I'm starving. It's been 4 hours since I ate. I'm starving. And now I think about that mentality and I'm like, God, I was such a dummy. And so, you can, so by fasting, it really helped me to reset and to find a new, to get a new grasp on my food and to get control of it. Let me see if I missed some comments here. Let's see. Carrie said we rarely eat out anymore. Barb says when we have chicken or cheese removed, we ask for extra vegetables. It really helps to get more food when you're ordering a salad. Carrie says that she's going to be going to a social event tonight. And then she's going to eat before she goes. Like, that's a big thing, have, if you're going to be at an event that, there's a chance that there's not going to be any food that you can eat beforehand. Throw a potato in your purse, have a purse potato or two, or a pocket potato. Have food in your car for when you leave. Have food in your future. I've talked about that a lot, is that if you have something to look forward to, then it makes it easier to avoid the temptation that's right in front of you. If you can say, oh, I have my cabbage soup at home, or I have something at home that I'm going to have, that helps out a ton, to get through those events. Cindy says you order spring rolls and have them hold the fried tofu and ask for extra veggies. They said they'd have to charge for it. Yeah, good grief. That's just ridiculous. And that's, we ordered vegan pizzas for my kid's birthday party, and that place charges extra for vegan meat and vegan cheese. And it's frustrating. You know, it keeps us from ordering it, which is great, I guess. But it's like, how could it be? There's no way it's that much, you know, they charge a lot too. It's not like $1. It's like $5 for the cheese and $5 for the vegan meat. And it's just like, there's no way that cheese is that much more expensive than regular cheese. Especially now, I think prices of all that stuff is going up. So yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just vegetables. Like, it's the cheapest thing of the meal. And I got rid of, you know, like, can I get refunded for the chicken? You're going to charge me for the extra veggies, but you're not going to refund me for the chicken. It seems a little bit ridiculous. So, and maybe that's, you know, a good reason not to go to restaurants is not having to deal with this. Our Tiny Acre says Applebee's puts oil on their baked potatoes. Yeah. If you're going to go to a restaurant, something that we run into is a lot of times restaurants make their baked potatoes in a big tray, you know, at the start of the day, and they'll put something like oil on it, or they'll put salt on the baked potato. And so I've ordered a baked potato. I think that meal I talked about that we had with my friends at the seafood place, that was a baked potato that likely had salt on it. And so I just ate the insides. I didn't eat the skin of the potato, just to reduce the amount of salt that I consumed from it. And so, see, Produce.pill says Jason's or McAllister's delis aren't bad options. Yeah, I think that, I was thinking, you know, like those places that are almost like the Subway kind of thing where you kind of go down and you decide what to put in your food. Those aren't so bad. You know, I mean, if I'm gonna, the restaurant that comes to my mind is Chipotle. Like, that is by far the one temptation that is been, if you put a Chipotle burrito in front of me, that would probably be the hardest thing for me to say no to. And it would have to be like, you know, vegan with their what is it, brown rice, and then their sofritas, right? I think that's the right word. That is pretty tempting, I suppose. But other than that, let's see. Carrie says it's funny that we look forward to things like kale and sweet potato stew. It always makes her think, who am I? Yes. Anytime I think about getting excited about having a salad when I get home, I think, who am I? Or when I'm eating a big bowl of brown rice, I think, who am I? Who is this guy? Because this is not the person who was here 2 years ago. But I got to get going. I did not expect to go for this long, and I did not talk anything about my title here. In fact, I talked about the opposite. So the title of my stream today was Binging My Way to Weight Loss, and then I spent almost the whole time talking about fasting. But I did fast to lose a great amount of weight at the beginning of this, and then I binged my way to a healthy weight, or I am binging my way to a healthy weight. I am eating large volumes of food. I only have an on and off switch. There's no middle ground. I don't have a moderation switch. There's no dimmer switch in my stomach. It's either no food or fill that gut up. And even with having it switched on to fill that gut up, I'm still losing over a pound a week. In fact, over a pound and a half a week, many weeks here. So anyways, I do have to get going. I appreciate everybody so much. Thank you for participating in the live stream here. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for all the comments. And thanks for the support. It was weigh-in Wednesday. If you haven't had a chance to go over and watch my weigh-in video, check that out. I'm going to get out of here for today. I plan on being live tomorrow, and Friday, but Fridays are always tough. So thank you guys for the support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't clicked on the bell icon, make sure you do that so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you haven't liked this video, like the video, comment down below. What are you having for dinner? What are you binging on for dinner tonight? And last but not least, If you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing that's coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. Nobody gets to their goal weight, looks back and says, man, I wish I would have waited that extra weekend, or I wish I would have waited another month. Everybody looks back and says they wish they would have started sooner. I look back, I'm not even to my goal, and I look back and I go, man, if I would have started, 6 months sooner or earlier, when I first saw that I was over 500 pounds, I'd be 6 months further along. I would be to the end of this challenge. I would be right there. I'd be at my goal, So get started now, guys. You all have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.